The year was 1478 BCE, deep in the heart of ancient Egypt. The kingdom of Pharaoh Thutmose III stretched far and wide, basking in the golden glow of its might. The priests at Karnak Temple often whispered of omens, but none could have foreseen the night the sky broke apart. It began with a sudden shift in the air, an unnatural stillness that made even the Nile's waters pause. The farmers in Thebes spoke of a suffocating heat that came without warning, drying their fields overnight. Then, without a cloud in sight, a storm unlike any in recorded history descended upon the land. Blackened winds howled through the valley, carrying whispers in a language no mortal could understand. Flashes of green lightning tore across the heavens, illuminating the great statues of the gods in an eerie glow. The pyramids themselves seemed to tremble under the force of the wind. It was said that the storm's voice called out names, ancient, names that predated even the first pharaohs. Then, as quickly as it arrived, the storm vanished. Not a trace of rain had fallen. The ground remained cracked and parched, yet the air was thick with the scent of burning metal. In the morning, the priest found something impossible. Deep within the temple complex of Karnak, a massive stone obelisk, one that had once stood upright for generations, now lay split in two, as though struck by a force beyond human comprehension. There were no scorch marks, no signs of an impact, just a clean, impossible break. For years, scholars debated the event. Some claimed it was an act of the gods, a sign of divine anger, or an unfulfilled prophecy. Others whispered darker theories, that something had descended from the heavens, something that was neither God nor man. The celestial drought of the Anasazi across the ocean, in the vast, sun-baked lands of the American Southwest, the Anasazi, people thrived for centuries, until they vanished without a trace. Their great cliff dwellings stood abandoned, their once bustling settlements eerily silent. What had driven them from their homes? The answer, according to ancient tribal stories, was the sky itself. Elders spoke of a time when the sun grew angry, beating down upon the land with an intensity never before seen. The rains, once predictable and steady, simply stopped. Crops withered in the fields and rivers ran dry, but the true terror came at night. The people of Chaco Canyon described a strange phenomenon, pulses of light that danced across the sky, forming geometric patterns that no star should make. The air would hum with an unnatural frequency, shaking the very bones of those who stood beneath it. Soon after these events, the land itself seemed to reject its people. Flocks of birds disappeared overnight, animals fled in terror, and those who remained in the canyon swore they could hear voices speaking in the wind, voices not of their ancestors, but of something else entirely. In desperation, the Anasazi sought answers from their shamans. The answer they received was terrifying. The sky had been tampered with. The balance of the world had been disrupted by forces beyond human understanding. The only way to survive was to leave, and so they did. Entire villages were abandoned, their people scattering into the mountains and deserts never to return. Even today, researchers remain baffled by the sudden disappearance of the Anasazi civilization. Could a natural drought have truly been so devastating? Or was there something more, something hiding in the silent sky? The Tempest of Tunguska. While many associate the Tunguska event of 1908 with a comet or meteor impact, some researchers believe it was part of an ongoing pattern of unnatural weather anomalies. In the frozen Siberian wilderness, an explosion flattened over 800 square miles of forest, with a force estimated at 1,000 times that of the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima. Yet, no impact crater was ever found. Witnesses described seeing a pillar of fire descend from the heavens, followed by an unnatural storm that raged for days. The sky glowed for weeks afterward, with reports of a strange blue light visible as far away as Europe. Local Evenki tribesmen believed it was a warning from the sky gods, while some modern researchers theorize it was an experiment gone wrong. Perhaps an early test of weather manipulation technology, or even extraterrestrial interference, a hidden hand in the skies. What connects these events? Could it be mere coincidence, or is there an unseen force, whether ancient extraterrestrials, lost technology, or an intelligence beyond our understanding? that has been shaping the weather for centuries. Even in our modern world, strange weather patterns continue to defy explanation. Sudden temperature shifts, unexplained lightning storms, and localized droughts often align with unexplored anomalies in the Earth's electromagnetic field. What if the secrets of weather manipulation are not only ancient but ongoing? Perhaps just as our ancestors feared, the sky has always been watching, and every so often it reminds us of its power. Throughout history, the skies have whispered secrets to those who dared to listen. Some were omens, some were warnings, and others were beyond human comprehension. From the cryptic tempests of ancient Egypt to the vanishing rains of the Anasazi, civilizations across time have recorded weather anomalies that defy logic. Were these mere natural phenomena misunderstood by ancient people, or do they hint at something more, something lurking in the heavens, watching, intervening? The Egyptian sky fire, a storm of unknown origin. It was the year 1478 BCE, and the reign of Thutmose III was at its height. Egypt had expanded into a formidable empire, and the gods, it seemed, were pleased. But one fateful night, a celestial event would leave the priests of Karnak trembling. The first signs were subtle, a stillness in the air, an unnatural quiet that settled over Thebes. The Nile, which had always been the giver of life, appeared, motionless, its waters thick and heavy as though reluctant to flow. The sky, clear only moments before, darkened with an unnatural swiftness, as though the heavens themselves had been veiled by an unseen hand. Then came the storm. Not an ordinary tempest of rain and thunder, but a howling, screaming force that seemed alive. The wind did not move as it should. It spiraled unnaturally, forming towering vortexes of dust and shadow. The sky ignited with flashes of green and violet lightning, unlike anything ever recorded in Egyptian annals. The very air vibrated with an unearthly hum, a low-frequency pulse that sent waves of nausea through those who stood beneath it. As terrified priests gathered within the temple of Karnak, they bore witness to the impossible. Whispering voices, carried by the wind, speaking in a tongue that no living man could understand. Some said they heard the names of long-forgotten deities, gods who predated even the most ancient dynasties. Others swore that the storm was speaking directly to them, revealing secrets that their minds could not hold. And then, silence. As quickly as it had begun, the storm vanished. The sands settled, the sky cleared, but the aftermath was undeniable. Deep, within Karnak Temple, one of the great obelisks, massive and unbreakable, lay in two, split cleanly down the middle as though it had been sliced by an unseen force. There were no signs of burning, no impact crater, only the eerie precision of its destruction remained. For centuries, scholars debated the event. Some called it an act of divine wrath, while others whispered of an unseen intelligence that had touched the earth for but a moment. But Egypt was not alone in its strange encounters with the sky. The Anasazi and the celestial drought far from the golden sands of Thebes and the sun-baked cliffs of the American Southwest. Another civilization faced a mystery that would never be solved. The Anasazi, or Ancient Ones, built elaborate cliff dwellings that seemed to defy both time and nature. Their civilization thrived for centuries, leaving behind complex, astronomical structures that aligned with celestial movements. But then, they were gone. By the late 1200s CE, the Anasazi had vanished. Their great cities were abandoned, their once bustling trade routes silent. Historians claim that a severe drought may have forced them to flee, but the stories left behind by their descendants tell a far stranger tale. The Hopi and Pueblo peoples, who inherited the lands once ruled by the Anasazi, speak of a time when the sky turned against the people. The rain, once plentiful, simply stopped. The rivers dried, the crops withered, and the once fertile lands became barren. But the true horror came at night. Elders spoke of strange lights moving across the sky, in patterns that no natural star should follow. The lights pulsed and danced, forming geometric shapes that seemed deliberate, as if something or someone was signaling from above. Those who stood beneath the glowing sky reported hearing a humming sound, so deep it shook their bones. Some claimed they saw shadows move where there should have been none, flickering forms that watched but never approached. As the drought worsened, desperation grew. The Anasazi turned to their shamans for answers, seeking guidance from the spirits. What they were told sent shivers through their people. The balance has been disturbed. The sky has been tampered with. We must leave, or we will perish, and so they abandoned their homes overnight. Some fled to the mountains, others into the deserts, and many were never seen again. What had forced them to flee? A simple drought? Or something manipulating the very forces of nature? The Tunguska event. A storm from the stars fast forward to 1908. Deep in the Siberian wilderness, another impossible event unfolded. On the morning of June 30th, a colossal explosion flattened over 800 square miles of forest in Tunguska. Witnesses described a pillar of fire descending from the sky, followed by a blinding flash that turned night into day. The shock wave shattered windows hundreds of miles away, and seismic activity was felt across continents. And yet, there was no impact crater. Scientists today believe it was a meteor or comet exploding mid-air, but eyewitness accounts tell a stranger story. Locals spoke of seeing a metallic object in the sky before the explosion, and in the days that followed, an unnatural storm raged over the region. The sky took on a ghostly blue glow for weeks, visible as far away as Europe. Some even reported feeling a strange warmth emanating from the air itself. Was this truly a natural event, or had something beyond our understanding intervened? A hidden force at play. Throughout history, civilizations have recorded unnatural storms, prolonged droughts, and celestial disturbances that defy explanation. Could it be that we have been witnessing the work of an unseen intelligence all along? Even today, modern weather, manipulation technology such as HAARP, cloud seeding, and electromagnetic interference raises the possibility that our ancestors, too, may have been subjected to forces beyond their understanding. Perhaps the pharaohs of Egypt, the shamans of the Anasazi, and the Siberian tribes all witnessed the same thing, a power beyond the natural world watching, testing, and, when necessary, intervening. The question remains, was it the work of ancient gods, lost technology, or something else entirely? One thing is certain, the sky has always been watching us, and every so often, it reminds us of its power. Final thought from Egypt. To Siberia, from the Anasazi to modern science, the question lingers. Are we alone in our atmosphere, or have unseen forces been manipulating our world for thousands of years?